In this video, I want to show you how to solve this equation. This problem is easy to solve, but I have asked a couple of my friends to solve it, and it turned out that it isn't as easy as I thought that it would be. So let's now see how to solve this. We have that x is equal to x over 5. So we have x on both sides, and on the right side of the equation we have this fraction. So let's in the first step get rid of this fraction, because in my experience people freak out when they see them. Of course, I'm not talking about us, the smart nerdy types. I'm talking about ordinary blokes. We have x divided by 5, so we can get rid of it if we multiply the entire equation by 5. Then we get that 5x is going to be equal to x. So we don't have a fraction anymore. Now I want to emphasize what most of my guinea pigs did, and at the start I'm telling you that it is not correct. So don't do it. For educational purposes only, I'm showing you what a common mistake looks like. Now this is the mistake. They looked at the equation and they said we have x on both sides. So let's divide by x both sides and then x cancels out. So we get that 5x divided by x is equal to x over x, and this is exactly the point where you have to be careful if you don't know what you are doing. So you can do this if you have a case discussion. But if you are not sure what you are doing, then the smart move is to not do it at all. I'll show you another method later, but now let's see what happens. We cancel out x. We have 5 on the left side, and we have x over x, which is equal to 1 on the right side, so we get a contradiction. What does this mean? We get this contradiction, and that only means that we don't have a solution for the starting equation. So we would say that there is no solution to this equation, and that is wrong. Let's take a step back and look at this equation. 5x is equal to x. How to solve this equation properly? This is a linear equation. We have x on both sides, and a linear equation is usually solved by putting all the unknowns on one side. So we are going to take this x from the right side of the equation and put it on the left side. We can do that by subtracting x on both sides. So we have that 5x minus x is equal to x minus x, which is 4x is equal to 0. So now to solve this equation in which we have x on one side, we have to get rid of this 4. We are going to do that by dividing both sides of the equation by 4. So we get 4x divided by 4 to be equal to 0 divided by 4. 4 and 4 are going to cancel out, and we are left with x, and 0 divided by 4 is 0. So now we can see that there is a solution. 0 is the only solution for this equation, which we had started from. The question is, what happened? Why didn't we find this solution before when we divided by x? In the case when we are dividing by x, we have 1 divided by x. X can be any number, and that includes 0. Well, there is the problem. If x happens to be 0, then we would divide by 0, which is not allowed. Then we would have to do a case distinction. First case would be if x is equal to 0. So I am talking about this step right here. We have 5x over x is equal to x over x. First case is going to be if x is equal to 0. what is going to happen? We cannot divide by x, so we have the equation 5x is equal to x, and if we plug in the 0, we see that 0 is equal to 0, and that is a solution. So x equals 0 is one solution of the equation. And in the second case, we would get that there are no solutions for x is different than 0. So if x is different than 0, you can cancel out x's, you get that 5 is equal to 1, and that is a contradiction. That is why there are no solutions. Remember that in this approach we have a logical connector OR between these two cases. This is going to give us a union of the solutions found in those two cases, and that is finally going to leave us with x being equal to 0 as the only solution of this equation. In my opinion, it is easier to use the first method, which I have shown here, then the case distinction, because you can easily make a mistake if you're not sure about what you are doing. I hope that you have enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching it, and please leave a comment, as I love reading those. Please like, share and subscribe, and I would recommend that you watch this video next.